Let me start with a truth you have probably never heard before. A truth so uncomfortable, so quietly dangerous, that most men will spend their entire lives running from it without ever knowing it exists. The moment you try too hard to be understood, you lose power. Read that again. Let it settle. Because almost everything you have been taught about talking to women, about building connection, about being open, honest, vulnerable, and expressive, has been quietly working against you when it comes from the wrong place. Watch closely. This is how attraction dies. A man meets a woman he likes. His pulse quickens. His mind starts racing. He wants to say the right thing. He wants to make her laugh. He wants to show her he is different. He wants her to understand him, so he does what he has been told to do. He opens up too quickly. He asks too many questions. He explains too much. He tries to connect. He thinks he is building chemistry, creating trust, laying the foundation for something real. But beneath the surface, something else is happening. Every question he asks from insecurity places her on a throne. What do you do? Where are you from? What kind of music do you like? What are you looking for in a relationship? On the surface, these questions seem normal, innocent, harmless. But when they come from a man who is trying to be accepted, they carry a hidden message. And that message is this: you are the prize, and I am the applicant. I am here to earn your approval. I am auditioning for your attention. I am hoping you will find me worthy. That is not connection. That is negotiation. And here is the painful truth. The moment a woman feels that you are trying to earn her approval, she loses a layer of respect for you. She may still smile. She may still answer. She may still enjoy the conversation on the surface. But somewhere beneath all of that, something has shifted. The frame has been set in her favor, not yours. Now understand this carefully. This is not about being cold. This is not about being rude. This is not about playing childish games. It is about understanding the invisible architecture of attraction. Because attraction is not built on comfort alone. It is not built on familiarity alone. It is not even built on kindness alone. Attraction is built on tension, on curiosity, on uncertainty, on the magnetic pull of a man who cannot be fully read. Niccolo Machiavelli once wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And while we are not talking about ruling kingdoms, this principle reveals something deep about human psychology. When a woman meets a man who does not need her validation, something happens inside her. She feels tension. She feels curiosity. She feels fascination. He is not predictable. He does not seek approval. He does not perform. He simply exists fully, calmly, and completely. And because he is not chasing her understanding, she begins wanting to understand him. That is gravity. And gravity does not chase, it pulls. Most men think they need to talk more, explain more, ask more, reveal more. But the magnetic man understands the opposite. He speaks with intention. He observes. He allows silence. He lets the moment breathe. He does not rush to fill every empty space because he does not fear emptiness. And that is the first principle: silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools a man can use in any interaction. It is also one of the rarest. Why? Because silence makes people uncomfortable. And when people are uncomfortable, they reveal themselves. They say things they had not planned to say. They over-explain. They reach for connection. They expose exactly how much they need approval. Most men rush to fill silence when talking to a woman. They are terrified that if there is a pause, a gap, a moment of stillness, she will lose interest. So they ask another question, tell another story, make another joke, give another compliment. They become noise. But silence does not kill attraction. Silence creates it. When you stop trying to impress, the frame changes. You become the observer instead of the performer. You let her fill the space, not because you are passive, but because you are centered. Chosen silence communicates something words cannot. It says, I am comfortable here. I do not need to be rescued from this pause. I do not need your approval to remain steady. I am not performing for you. I am present. That kind of stillness is rare, and rarity creates value. The next time you are talking to a woman, try this. After she finishes speaking, do not respond immediately. Pause. Hold eye contact. Let a calm expression sit on your face. Let 3 seconds pass. Do not rush. Do not laugh nervously. Do not look away in panic. Let her words hang in the air. Most men are so conditioned to fill silence that even 3 seconds will feel electric. But in that silence, she begins to wonder. What is he thinking? Did that affect him? Why is he so calm? Why can't I read him completely? And that slight uncertainty keeps her mind engaged. That is where attraction starts, not in chaos, not in confusion, but in controlled mystery. The second principle is this: never over-explain yourself. One of the fastest ways to lose a woman's respect is to constantly justify your choices. When a man explains every opinion, defends every action, clarifies every statement, and apologizes for things that did not need an apology, he is confessing something. He is confessing that he needs approval to feel secure. He is showing that the gap between who he is and who he fears she thinks he is too wide. So he tries to bridge it with words. Please understand me. Please approve of me. Please do not think badly of me. Please confirm that I am acceptable. That is the hidden message behind over-explaining. And every time you send that message, you teach her that she has power over your emotional state. A grounded man does not need to be understood by everyone. He does not need to convince everyone that he is right. He does not panic when challenged. He can be questioned without collapsing. He can be misunderstood without losing himself. That is powerful. Imagine this. You say something she does not fully agree with. She tilts her head and says, "Do you really believe that?" The average man panics. He softens. He backtracks. He explains. He adds disclaimers. He tries to make sure she still likes him. By the end, his original opinion barely exists. He thinks he is being flexible. But what he is really doing is showing that his identity can be negotiated. A stronger man responds differently. He smiles calmly and says, "Yes." Then he lets the moment breathe. No long speech, no insecurity, no apology, not arrogance, certainty. There is a difference. Arrogance needs to prove itself. Certainty does not. The most magnetic men rarely over-explain. Their tone is their argument. Their consistency is their argument. Their calm is their argument. They are not begging you to agree with them. They simply exist inside their own conviction. That creates trust. Because if a man does not know who he is, how can a woman feel grounded around him? The quiet strength of knowing your own mind communicates something essential. It says, "I am stable. I know who I am. I will still be who I am tomorrow." That is what women feel before they consciously understand it. So the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. Ask yourself, am I explaining because this truly needs explanation? Or am I explaining because I fear disapproval? If it is fear, stop. Let your statement stand. The man who needs to be understood can always be controlled by people who withhold understanding. But the man who is comfortable being misunderstood cannot be manipulated through that gap. The third principle is this: do not chase attention, shape emotion. Most men chase attention. They tell jokes to get a laugh. They compliment to get a smile. They text quickly to feel chosen. They stay available to avoid being forgotten. They perform endlessly for one person. But attention is shallow. A woman can look at you without being emotionally invested. She can reply without being attached. She can laugh without feeling attraction. Attention is the surface. Emotion is the depth. And depth is what keeps someone thinking about you when you are not there. Machiavelli understood that power was never about being seen. It was about being felt. In attraction, this matters deeply. You do not want to simply hold her attention. You want to affect her emotional state, not through manipulation, not through chaos, but through presence. A woman does not need you to solve every emotion she has. She needs to feel that you are not destabilized by them. If she brings intensity, you stay centered. If she becomes distant, you do not chase. If she tests you, you do not crumble. If she becomes emotional, you do not rush to fix everything just to calm your own anxiety. You remain the emotional anchor. That steadiness communicates strength more powerfully than any line. Imagine she says, "You seem distant." The anxious man immediately explains, "No, I'm not distant. I've just been busy. I promise everything is fine. I didn't mean to make you feel that way." He gives away the frame instantly. The composed man looks at her calmly and says, "Maybe you're used to men who are always available." Then he lets it land. He does not attack. He does not over-explain. He does not chase approval. He stays centered. That shifts the emotional frame. Now she is the one thinking. Now she is the one recalibrating. Now she feels that he is not easily moved. That is emotional control. Not controlling her, controlling yourself. The fourth principle is this: never reveal all your intentions too soon. The moment you lay everything bare too early, you remove mystery. This is how I feel. This is what I want. This is where I see this going. This is how much I like you. This is what I hope happens next. Many men think this is vulnerability. Sometimes it is. But often it is reassurance seeking disguised as honesty. The man is not sharing because the moment is right. He is sharing because uncertainty makes him anxious. He wants to collapse the tension. He wants an answer. He wants to know where he stands. But in doing so, he destroys the very uncertainty that creates attraction. Think about a movie. If you know the ending in the first 10 minutes, you stop caring. Not because the story is bad, but because there is nothing left to discover. Attraction works the same way. Mystery is not dishonesty. Mystery is disciplined timing. It means you reveal yourself gradually. You allow her imagination to participate. You do not hand her a complete map of your inner world before she has earned access to it. Controlled disclosure is powerful. Share enough to create connection. Hold enough to create curiosity. Eventually, depth must be shown. But timing is everything. The same truth spoken too soon can feel heavy. Spoken at the right time, it becomes intimate. That is the difference between emotional dumping and emotional depth. The fifth principle is this: make her chase certainty. There is a paradox at the center of desire. If you want to be desired, you must create uncertainty without making her feel unsafe. Confusion repels. Intrigue attracts. Confusion says, "I do not know if this man is stable. I do not know if he is serious. I do not know if he is playing games." That kind of uncertainty creates anxiety, and eventually she withdraws. Intrigue says something different. I can tell this man is real. I can tell he is present. I can tell he is grounded. But I cannot fully decode him. There is something beneath the surface I have not reached yet. That kind of uncertainty pulls her closer. The key is groundedness. A man who is uncertain about himself creates confusion. A man who is deeply certain about himself, but selective about what he reveals, creates intrigue. That is the difference. Most men try to fake mystery. They act cold. They disappear. They withhold attention. They play games. But fake mystery feels empty. Real mystery comes from depth. A man with a mission, values, emotional control, and a rich inner life does not need to pretend to be mysterious. He simply is. He does not seek attention. He commands it through stillness. He is calm when others panic. He speaks with intention. His silence is not absence. It is signal. That is what makes women curious. Not because he is playing a game, but because he is complete enough not to reveal himself out of need. The sixth principle is emotional control. This is the foundation of everything. A man who cannot control his emotions will always be controlled by someone who can trigger them. If criticism makes you explode, you can be controlled. If silence makes you chase, you can be controlled. If distance makes you beg, you can be controlled. If disapproval makes you abandon yourself, you can be controlled. Emotional reactivity is a map. It shows people exactly where your buttons are, and once they know your buttons, they know how to move you. A woman cannot deeply respect a man she can emotionally puppeteer. Even if she tests you, even if she provokes you, even if she pushes your edges, some part of her wants you not to take the bait. Some part of her wants to see that you can hold steady, that you can listen calmly, that you can feel emotion without being ruled by it, that you can respond from choice, not reflex. This is where Stoicism becomes powerful. Epictetus taught that some things are in your control and some are not. Other people's opinions are not in your control. Their reactions are not in your control. Their moods are not in your control. But your judgments are. Your responses are. Your emotional discipline is. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realizing this is strength. Emotional control does not mean suppression. Suppression is avoidance. Emotional control means you feel fully, but you choose deliberately. You do not pretend you are unaffected. You simply refuse to be governed by every feeling that rises inside you. That is mastery, and mastery is rare. Look around. Most men are slaves to reaction. They chase when ignored. They explode when criticized. They apologize just to end discomfort. They explain when misunderstood. They beg when they feel someone slipping away. They call that love. But often, it is fear. The man who masters himself becomes different. He does not need to win every argument. He does not need to fill every silence. He does not need to be understood by everyone. He does not need to reveal everything too soon. He does not need to chase attention. He does not need to react to every emotional storm. He stays grounded, and groundedness is magnetic. So here is the lesson. Silence is not emptiness. It is power held rather than spent. Refusing to over-explain is not arrogance. It is self-respect. Controlling emotional tone is not manipulation. It is mature leadership. Holding back intentions is not dishonesty. It is timing. Making her chase certainty is not a game. It is what happens naturally when a man has depth. And emotional control is not coldness. It is the quiet strength of a man who has chosen to govern himself. Attraction is not born from words alone. It is born from presence, and presence comes from stillness. Women do not fall for the loudest man in the room. They fall for the man who feels like he does not need anyone to fall for him at all. That is Machiavellian magnetism. That is Stoic composure. Not arrogance, not performance, not manipulation. Just the quiet, radical act of becoming a man who has fully, completely, and unshakably become himself. In a world where every man is competing for her attention, the rare one who is not competing becomes the one she cannot stop thinking about. The real secret has never been in what you say. It is in the strength you are willing to hold back.